You were saying the thing of, oh, if Ishiki and Kaguya fought, Kaguya could teleport both of them to the to the acid dimension. Ishiki would instantly die, Kaguya would teleport away. And she'd be fine.
Well, I think I was asking, was it accurate that she shifts, like she drops the dimension on them, or does she teleport them to the dimension? I think that's what I was asking. Then I gave
Well, that was the question, but that was a side thing you said.
Yeah. Was that question ever answered, by the way?
She teleports them to the dimension. It's because
actually,
the way it looks anyway.
Yeah, I guess we'll derail to that really quick. I did think about that more. It makes sense if both dimensions are just swapped, but that's also really weird because Kaguya never unswapped it at the last bit. So Earth, during the entirety of Boruto, has always been in Kaguya's dimension, assuming that's true.
Huh?
Which is weird, but based on that, it would have to be true. Kaguya swaps the two dimensions.
I think she's warping them.
I think so too.
I agree.
Yeah, I think she just teleports everyone because she doesn't. Because it has to be she teleports them. Because for example, all the people in the Infinite Tsukuyomi and White Zetsu, Guru Zetsu, and stuff didn't go to the lava dimension too.
Exactly.
So it seems like she's just picking and choosing who goes.
I feel like
she's not changing.
I feel like I read that somewhere or heard that somewhere.
No, I think it's verbatim simply misinformation. In the series. No, it's not. It's not misinformation. I don't think it's even in the battle. I think it's just straight up in the series.
Because I want to pull that chapter up because that's something that's been irking me for like years.
Yeah. So well, it's irking you.
I think it's just a misinterpretation of words because I think the only statement on this ability is Kakashi saying she's literally changing the terrain or something.
It could be a mistranslation.
What do you think change means? You know, like change is just like switching, you know, what it looks like.
So it's just
it's not an illusion. It's not. Yeah, it's just like observing what's happening. But that's not actually what's happening. She's just teleporting them to somewhere else, you know?
He says, I was right. It's not a genjutsu. Well, don't tell me. She summoned an alternate dimension, ? But this is just my like translations. Like,
so it's a summoning technique.
Then, like, Kakashi's not like, he's just asking. Like, is that what she did? Like, Kakashi doesn't know what she did.
That is an excellent point.
There you go.
He's not the expert on this. He's just wondering what happened.
Given that these translations are accurate, to be fair.
Yeah, I'll see what. Nice work. She summoned an alternate dimension.
Well, but they also say, "Way to go, Kakashi Sensei," as if they know that's true, which is weird.
Bro, he's talking about saving their lives. What are you talking about?
No, he's talking about Kakashi saving Sakura and Obito, not.
Okay.
He's thinking to himself about the dimension.
What great analysis, Kakashi Sensei! Like, way to go! Like, bro,
I know. I thought they were rooting him on. You figured it out. Good job, man.
That's wild. That's wild, bro. Why is Kaguya's is Kaguya's hair, or is it just part of her body?
I mean, she is the Ten Tails, so it's whatever part of the Ten Tails that is that looks like hair.
Is it her hair? Is it a part of her body? I mean, I get hair is part of the body. I get that. But like, is it like actual? I figure that's what you're.
Yeah, is it like an arm?
Is it actual hair, or is it like the form of hair?
I mean, hair is
like Shibai.
Like actual hair.
Shibai just has like forward, you know.
Because like when she was like moving past Sakura, that shit looked long, boy. That shit was long, and then like it gets shorter over time or something. I don't know.
Hair is
maybe her
that's
hair
where Jiraiya gets his
started
ability
burning
from,
when she was in the lava dimension. It was so hot.
Jiraiya is part Ootsutsuki.
There you go. Hair is dead cells, but the souls have hair. Explain that one.
Maybe the souls take on the form of their prior selves.
Or the body takes on the form of the soul.
Ooh,
I like that.
Yeah, it could be either one. That's a JJK question right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
but you were talking about I said something about Kaguya dropping a dimension on Ishiki and he just die.
Yeah, drop the acid dimension on his head, and because he's surrounded by acid, he would just die. Kaguya teleports away, and Kaguya's fine.
Yeah. What about it?
Do you think that's true?
If that's how the ability works.
Okay,
but now that we've looked at the translations, I think she just warps them both there. Yeah. So I'll kind of explain. So, Kaguya, she can use like space-time ninjutsu that's not tethered to like a dojutsu or anything like that. Do you agree with that statement?
I think it is tethered to her Rinne. Well, Amenominaka is in the databook. Lily says it's a Rinnesharingan ability. Let me check her other one.
And every time she uses it, she uses her Rinnesharingan. So I would imagine it is.
I'll double check what it says about Yamatsu Hirasaka. That's Urashiki has that one too.
Yeah.
That one also, though, Urashiki literally uses his dojutsu for.
Plus Sasuke has to use his Rinnegan for space-time. So even if it's not used, it doesn't look like it's used in like the black glitchy portals. It's possible that it is. So how else would it be used unless she just has it as like a Shinjutsu, I guess?
The most this says to really tell us is it cannot be used by anyone other than Kaguya, who had the 3 primordial dojutsu, which is funny because that's not true because Urashiki can use it. But
we know people without Rinnegan
information.
People without Rinnegan can use space-time ninjutsu because Minato, Tobirama, Boruto, and freaking Genma and the other 2 have a flying Raijin. But that's not them using it. That's almost like the kunai using it in a way. But the kunai also doesn't have the Rinnesharingan, so I guess
even summon ninjutsu is space-time ninjutsu, bro.
Well, that's fine. I think my analysis was predicated on like the memory, like because I think that's what I was going on. So I'll take that as like a little bit of well, whatever, that's fine. That she can use like multiple space-time ninjutsu. So, but given like the clarification, then I would say, well, I mean, outside of her dojutsu, then I would say, I think how the scenario would go in that instance is that if she can teleport individuals, then she can just teleport him. And then he'd die. She did like because the whole idea of her being like, cause I was thinking the dimension drops atop them, like she teleports the dimension, so there's no way for her to avoid the dimension. But if the idea is like the only thing that's based upon her warping the dimension and not her warping the people is like a question from Kakashi, then that's loose as fuck. And then I would just like look at the instance as given and then like use like Occam's razor, like common sense type shit, that she's warping people and not the dimension. So since that would be like my new like conclusion, then I would say she would just warp him and then he'd be fucked. Yeah.
I don't think she can instantly do
that. Yeah. I think she has to go. Partly, I'm gonna use the way it's explained in the databook description. It's explained that she can move the world she's in, but she together with other people too. So it's she changes the world she's in, and she can bring others with her if she wants to.
Where's that?
Not that she can. I think she has to go there too to do it. That's also how it's shown. Yeah. Because, for example, she used Yamatsu Hirasaka to separate Sasuke instead of just Amenominaka-ing Sasuke somewhere else.
Exactly.
She went and grabbed him, yanked him through the portal.
Where's that stated?
I think if she uses Amenominaka, she has to go there, and then she can
that
bring some people.
He can't hear you right now. He's talking.
Where is that stated? So I can look at it.
Wait, what?
Hold on.
Where's the statement that's describing what she's doing with the space-time ninjutsu?
Oh, let me just take a picture of it for you.
Oh, okay.
Data book, but let me.
Bro gets in the zone, boy. That's crazy. The tunnel. He get that shit when you ain't got Sharingan, but you use a lightning blade. You're just fucked. You're stuck in this tunnel,
bro. That's so funny. But that does make sense. And again, like unless you want to say it's just to save chakra, which is why she used Yamatsu here, it's whatever, instead of Amenominaka to instantly teleport Sasuke.
It says here that she can move the world she's in together with other people to a different dimensions. So it says together with other people.
Yeah, so she can move the world together, but like, so is it possible you have 3 people, including her, so she moves 2 people in the world but keeps herself behind? Given that dialogue,
the description, I think she has to go too.
I mean, given the description that was just there, is that contradicting the description? Because it says she can move the world and other people. It doesn't say she has to like move herself with the world and the other people.
But it says it changes the world she's in. She wouldn't be if she doesn't go there too. She's not changing the world she's in. She's changing the world someone else is in.
The world. So together isn't in reference to the world. It's in reference to other people.
Wait, what? No, so what I'm saying is like the activation of it would be the change of the world, but whatever the conclusion is fine. But the change still occurs. Like she could like change the world and people in said world, but not herself.
It depends on if you look at it. So I'm going to send a statement here because you have multiple things. So I think the Occam's razor. I think you can look at it because it says it multiple times. So it's once it says together with she can move the world together. She's in together with other people to a different dimension, and it says the places she can move to are different dimensions, such and such. Then it says again that she drags them into a partial dimension or something. So it is just multiple times the interpretation is that she is moving along with them. Of course, it could be other things, but you know,
place that she can move
for the
to.
most part.
So a place that is possible for her to move to.
No, it says the particular dimensions, and then
again.
it clarifies her 5 dimensions plus the connected one.
She forcibly drags them into a particular dimension.
Yeah.
There's no way to oppose it. Okay, and it's impossible to go back. In another dimension from where? What?
From here with your own strength. It's a dreadful technique, but we know that's not. Actually, that might be true, but I don't think it is.
Well, you can't go back. Well, to be.
Well, this is based on the original Naruto series, so maybe like in Naruto, Minato couldn't, but in Boruto, Minato could because retcon.
But that's what I'm saying. Like you have stuff like Flying Thunder God, but then also like you have it like within this, like Obito is like ripping open dimensions, so it's possible to do.
No, I think that's just contradictory because Sasuke summons a hawk and then unsummons it. The hawk probably went back to its original dimension. Unless you want to say it's because the hawk wasn't dragged to through Amenominaka. But I feel like if it was like, let's just say Gamakichi went there too. I think he could just Naruto like, all right, Gamakichi, go home. I don't feel like he's stuck there.
I think this interpretation was more so meant for the moment because I think it's more so referring to Hagoromo having to summon, the people and combine chakras to teleport all of them. So, yeah, the context is just them not being able to escape it with their own strength at that point in time.
It also doesn't clarify who Yor is. It doesn't clarify with one's own strength. It clarifies Yor. Yor is like you. It's a specific person they're referencing, but they don't clarify who that person is. But it doesn't mean it's everyone.
Like you, Oodie, could not escape.
So when it comes to this like scan, like I think we can agree like there's some stuff that's kind of wonky here that I would call into question. Like the latter statement calls into question the former statement because the latter stuff is kind of like wrong. but if you think it's like talk about the specific moment, Kido, like he said, then sure, it's like an instantaneous move that you can't like get past. So yeah, there you go. I don't expect them to like defend against that instantaneous thing. That'd be weird.
It's like but there's different statements in Naruto. So like even the data books have different statements under different contexts. You have Naruto statements, and then you have like statements describing what's happening. So this goes back to part 1 and stuff. And so yeah, it depends on how you interpret what's being said.
But again, at the very least, she wanted to separate Sasuke.
But
she used Yamamihiro Kaguya instead of Amenominaka.
Yamatsuhiro Sakura, yeah. The fact that she went out of her way to use a different jutsu for that purpose on
I wouldn't say that. I think it depends. I don't think that necessarily proves anything. Because you could just say she didn't want to waste chakra on this technique where she could just use the easier one. And she didn't go all of her way to do it. She just moved her hand and he was gone. So I don't think it was much trouble to use the other technique.
And even if
I don't think Yamatsuhiro Sakura uses as much chakra anyway, so I think it's a fair argument.
Even if I'm reading this, it says it's a technique.
And she was trying to conserve power.
It says this is a technique that Kaguya, who owns the Rinnegan, uses. It's in an instant, so that would get to like they can't defend against it, like when it's occurring. Getting back to Kido's like interpretation of it being specific instance. So it happens in an instant, that's fine, I guess. But you guys would disagree with that. She can move the world she's in. Okay, so she's in the world together with other people to a different dimension. So that's why I was saying like she's in that a world and she can move them and the world. She's in the world, so she moves it and then them, other people. So the world together with other people. Other would be like not her.
Again, you're combining together to other people instead of the world. So I think just based on
world could mean like a world could mean a planet, or it could just mean a certain existence. So it might be describing a certain area.
So what I'm trying to
get
she's
to like moving at this space, but just.
So basically, what I'm saying is like my conclusion or my idea that you can warp other people doesn't get contradicted by this statement. Unless you can see something in the statement that does indeed contradict that conclusion.
Again, I just think together with other people is a clause.
If she uses it, let's just say she just teleports Obito away. That doesn't tell me she's changing the world she's in. She's changing the world Obito's in, not herself.
What?
Hypothetically, when she teleports everyone to the lava dimension, if she just didn't go there too, she wouldn't be changing the world she's in. She would be changing the world everyone else was in.
So the world that has to be changed on activation is the world she's in, correct?
Yes, that's what it says at least.
So that world would have to be Earth, or whatever you want to define worlds in that dimension or whatever, right?
Wherever she was in.
Because she's not in the lava dimension, so she can't change that because she's not in it. So the change has to occur in the dimension she's in, and we know when they go to the lava dimension, they start on Earth. So the change has to start on Earth, right?
I mean, it just wherever she was at the time, like she can use it again in the lava dimension, and so it starts with the lava dimension.
I don't think there's a start because it's in an instant. There's no start or end. It's just one thing.
No, the activation.
No, she means starting location.
Yes.
I don't care. It's in an
instant. You guys are arguing over English, and you'll never win.
Yeah.
and even given all of that, a change still occurs in the dimension they get warped to because, well, there's like space that's being occupied by bodies that weren't there prior. So no matter how you cut it, a change occurs in both dimensions, the starting dimension and then the conclusion dimension.
Well, if she could just send them, why did she go there with them?
You can look at her entire fight and be like, why didn't she do X, Y, and Z, given her her move set?
No, true, but in this specific instance, like you have 2 times when she's like even when she's about to get touched by them and she teleports with them and freezes herself. So she's doing things she wouldn't need to do. She could just blink them away. So I feel like the more again, Occam's razor, simple explanation is that she has to move with them. Of course, you can interpret it the other way, but I guess it depends on.
Again, it should have to be a clause because together with other people, if you remove it, the sentence still makes sense. If you remove with other people, the sentence no longer makes sense. She's in together to a different dimension. That doesn't really make sense. So it has to be a clause. So she can move the world she's in, and if other people are with her, she can move those people together with her.
In her vicinity.
Also, just another side point is that the fact that Kakashi and Sakura came with her, I don't know if she can choose who comes with her. It might just be a proximity thing. Because at that point, Kaguya didn't care about either of them. Because she would just only want Naruto and Sasuke if that was the case.
Okay, so I'm looking at the evidence that you're providing for that. And that's how I'm arriving at my conclusion. I understand you can look at say Occam's razor and say, well, she didn't why didn't she do this? Like I said, there's a lot of things I have questions about why didn't she do why didn't she absorb this whatever. There's a lot of questions I have about why she didn't do certain things. But that's not really my kind of burden to prove, to be honest. I just look at what's presented in front of me and I kind of arrive at the conclusion. I don't see any contradictions, at least in this first part. Maybe when it says the places she can move, and then maybe there's something in there that contradicts it. I can maybe read that real quick. But these first 2, not really. I don't really get that, to be honest.
Well, but again,
then even within even with on this panel, if you want to say sentence structure must necessitate a certain outcome, given that you remove certain things and it doesn't make sense or whatever. Within the same page is scan, it's saying, and it's in impossible to go back on your own power or whatever the case may be. So even if the idea is we're talking about that instance, I'm not entirely sure how you go back on a thing that is presently occurring. So if it's it happens in an instant and within that instant you can't react to it, well, I would imagine that's the case. Your neurons don't fire quick enough or whatever the case may be. But once you're in the dimension, it's impossible to go back. That would make sense if that's what they were talking about and not the instance in which it's occurring. So if it's post occurrence, which I think makes sense, we know that they can. We know within the verse there are mechanics at play that make it so that they can do that. Because there's a problem with the logic here. I call it all into question.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I wouldn't say there's no literal possible way that she could ever send someone without going there too, but I think it's more likely based off the way it's described, what we saw, that she does have to go to. So for the sake of the context of the acid thing, I would just say it's more likely she would have to be acidified too. The question is what happens from there in terms of the whole.
Well, we can get to that. Last thing I want to say on this, in an instant, she can move the world she's in. So if she moves Obito, the world she's in isn't being moved. You gotta look at the world, not her.
That's what I was saying, yeah.
It's similar to what you're saying, but worded a different way. So the world has to move. Which world? The world Kaguya's in at the time. Not Kaguya, but the world.
Yeah.
And where are you getting this information from?
The statement
the scan
right there.
that I said that I don't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Then we kind of loop back to like there's contradictory statements in this scan here that we're calling the question all of it in general.
Yes, but my statement that idea was from before you said that, so I was just saying it anyways, just to get it out there.
That's fine, but all this information is outdated anyway because we're talking about a Boruto era character in Ishiki, and we know that like within the Boruto era, they whether you want to say retcon or just it made sense all along. Flame Thunder God can get you out of here, so that gets back to this being contradicted. So this is irrelevant to me.
Yeah.